metronome on. Don't need a beat to this. Turn that off. Okay, we're going on my GarageBand.
All right, we're going on my iPhone, and let's go. All right. Welcome to Volterra Podcast number 8. It's 8, right, Louis?
Number 8, yeah, no, very nice with the multilinguals there as well.
Yeah.
So for the Latin audience.
For the Latin audience. What is Latin? 8 in Latin? Oh, Latin.
I meant, yeah. I have no idea what 8 is in Latin.
An inauspicious start. So, how are we doing, Louis? We all right?
We're doing okay. I'm pretty tired. I've been working this morning. I'll be going back out to work in about an hour and a half's time. So yeah, it's sort of sandwiched between two terrible and quite debilitatingly boring shifts, which is why there's maybe a slight tired twang to my voice. And why I'm drinking whiskey at 3 in the afternoon as well. So there we go.
Cheers. I'm still on my coffee, and I literally just had breakfast.
Well, that's pretty civilized. So
prost. So what are you at hotels this time?
Actually, this morning I did a shift in Universal Records, which you guys probably know. I think it's pretty global anyway.
Yeah.
It was again. I usually end up doing very similar things at these sort of shifts. It was a bit more sort of appropriate this one, as it was Universal Records, me being this kind of fledgling musician. But fundamentally, I ended up sort of spooning yogurts into pots while the music industry kind of went around me.
So it was a catering job, so to speak.
Yeah, it's not really the ideal way I'd like to go to Universal Records, but hey, it's a start.
Did you see anybody famous?
No. Apparently Ed Sheeran was there, but I don't know what he looks like really, and I don't care.
Kind of like a hobbit.
Okay, well, yeah, there was plenty of sort of medieval-looking folk kicking about there. He may have been one of them.
Yeah.
Good for him.
So you're in another bit of a conundrum over there with your British gas bill.
Oh yeah, this is wonderful. Like the banality of British bureaucracy. I find as the older I get, it's quite annoying actually to kind of be free from the whole parental influence. The whole being an adult thing doesn't come that naturally to me, so it turns out. But getting around these the kind of minutiae and the boring things of life, like spilling beans on the carpet, for example, like you have to kind of deal with it, and it's pretty irritating. When the toilet won't stop flushing, you have to deal with it. So I have utmost respect for my mother, really, the whole time that she's really put quite a shift in doing this the whole time. But today's wonderful issue after a shift and before a shift is that the gas meter is broken and is sort of hemorrhaging money really very fast, which is a bit of a pity.
That's probably
here in Britain.
Yeah, that's. Go ahead. Sorry.
No. Go.
I was just gonna say that's probably the worst of two evils.
Yeah.
Rather than it being broken and not like ringing you up at all, this seems to be the worst of the two.
Yeah, there's no positive to the situation really at all, apart from the fact that I'm actually not dealing with it directly. My girlfriend is doing a heroic job of speaking to these people on the phone. Unfortunately, here in the UK, we still are quite archaic about our energy bills, and you actually have to go to a shop with a little card, pay them, and then they put money on it, and then you kind of come back and do it. You put it in. So it's very hard to kind of keep track of. Anyway, that by the by, that's what's been going on. And I imagine, as you've lived in the UK, you've probably had some experience with calling any of the sort of regional UK companies that supply energy.
Yeah. Well, my worst bureaucracy kind of lack of customer service understanding experience happened with our TV bill, I think, our TV internet bill. After second year, I owed I had to pay like 500 something quid for like a cancellation fee or something like that. And it was nobody wanted to help. And that's the thing about these like call centers is nobody wants to help you. Nobody wants to do anything. No one wants to facilitate any sort of like expedite the process at all. It's just no, I'm sorry, I can't help you.
Yeah.
Really sorry, I can't help you. That's somebody else's position. Why don't I send you over to them? No, I really can't help you over here either. This really isn't my purview. This is So I think there's a lot of that going on, and I commend your girlfriend for putting up with it.
No, she's a total hero. Mutual benevolence isn't really their strong point. The fact that you actually have managed to talk to a person is amazing as well. So I guess you're one of the few there.
Here's the thing. So one of the guys I bounced with in St. Andrews worked at the BT call center in Dundee. So I requested him, or I called him directly or something like that, and he had to pretend that he didn't know me, and he was a big Nigerian guy. You remember Fred?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Fred.
I see.
Big, brilliant Nigerian guy who was working at the Dundee BT call center, and
fair enough.
Called him up. He had to pretend that I didn't know him. So he's like, "Hello, Mr. Kane. What can I help you with today?" "Oh, yes." So I was like, took me a second to catch on because I was like, "Oh, Fred, good. Thanks for doing this. Thanks for helping out." He's like, "Oh, well, anytime, sir. I can be of help. That is what we do here at BT." So yeah, it was. Hope I didn't. He was much too smart for a BT. I think he was in the gas and the natural gas petroleum engineering program up in Dundee.
Wasn't too relevant to his studies.
No, I don't think so. I think he was just paying the bills. So yeah, any final thoughts on British Gas and Scottish Gas, or?
No, not really. I mean, apart from that, they are a bunch of slippery cunts, I think is probably the French translation of them anyway. Yeah. I maybe it's better in the US. At least you guys have a much better attitude to customer service, which maybe sort of results in a better process happening anyway.
Yeah, I think that's the thing is not that we're actually we're pretty decent at if there's a cordiality with customer service and with call centers and people. For all the complaints about bureaucracy here, we do normally, at least in the private industry, do a decent job in trying to help people out. That said, there was one. This is the last point we'll make about this. But there was a Comcast, which is like this massive. I don't know if you heard about it over there. They're taking over like all the internet basically in the U.S. They own like something like 60 to 70% of like the internet provider. They're the internet provider for like 60 to 70% of the U.S.
Right. Okay.
So they have like a massive amount of control, and there was this guy who called up Comcast, and he kind of set them up, but he was like, "I would like to like cancel my service. I'm going to somebody else," and the guy on the other end of the line was like some guy that they're supposed to. Like an exit interview, kind of like, "Oh, why are you leaving us? What can we do to keep you?" Blah blah blah.
Sure.
He was on the phone with them for 15 minutes, like yelling at him. We provide the fastest internet. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Why are you leaving? Can you tell me why you're leaving? And the guy's like, "I just want to leave. I'm sorry, but that's all I have to say. And could you please cancel my service?" He's like, "Yeah, of course I can do that, but I just don't understand why you're leaving us. I mean, we have the best internet, we have the best TV. If you own a small business, we offer the best prices." And it was this for like 15 minutes, and it went viral and yeah.
Sure, yeah, I understand. I imagine most people just give up and they just continue with the service. That's how I think it works. What's meant to.
Yeah. All right. So speaking of incredibly depressing, soul-crushing events, Spurs lost 3-0 to Liverpool this weekend.
The season came crashing down for Tottenham Hotspur. Reality bit pretty hard there.
Did you catch the match?
I did actually. I watched it in a pub in Denmark where I was over the weekend. It was a bit of a shame actually. I thought Spurs actually weren't too bad, but and Liverpool really weren't very good either. However, they somehow kind of managed to.
Well, Sterling and Sturridge were pretty good.
No, it is true. But yeah, no, I don't think 3-0 was. I thought didn't really reflect the performances that well. Though again, having said that, like the sooner that Yunus Kabul like calls it a day, I think for the Tottenham Hotspur collective will breathe a sigh of relief.
Yeah, he was just miserable. I mean, he was almost at fault for. He wasn't at fault for the penalty. That was a really soft penalty, by the way. I don't know. There was talk of it actually being a penalty, and I don't know how you can argue. Like, yes, if you touch someone and he goes down, it could technically be called a penalty. But there was so little there. Like, that was just. If that's what football's turned into, like it's kind of sad.
It is pretty sad here. It is kind of what is going down though. Once there's any contact, people go down like a ton of bricks. There's a whole can of worms, you know.
One plus that came from that, I tweeted at Graham Lasso, who does the NBC commentary here, and we had a nice little conversation about
fantastic.
whether Dyer was at fault or where like the ref's positioning, if the ref's positioning was good or not, and yeah, it actually seems like a decent guy, tweeting back at folks who disagree with him, and yeah. So
excellent. I'm glad Graham Lasso is kind of up to date with modern technology, and I wish him all the best with his NBC work.
Does he have any sort of reputation over there for anything?
Oh yeah. I mean, Graham Lasso is pretty famous. He's one of where the hell is he from? He's from, I think he's one of the only professional footballers to come from, I forget which Channel Island, but he's from the Channel Islands. So
Jersey. Jersey. That's what it says on his thing.
So he's not actually technically British, which is quite strange. But yeah, he's from the Channel Islands. He rose mainly to fame through. He was a pretty good player. I believe Southampton was where he sort of played for quite a while. Anyway, he gained sort of UK-wide notoriety for having a lot of gay rumours about him back in the 90s, where it was a big no-no for footballers. Well, it still is a big no-no. It's another whole subject. We can touch on it sometime. But he was rumoured to be gay, and Robbie Fowler, the Liverpool striker, during a match with Southampton, I believe, mimicked, while standing in the wall of a Graham Lasso free kick, stood with his back to Lasso and gesticulated to his rear end with his arm to suggest that Graham Lasso was indeed, batting for the other side, which caused a lot of commotion at the time. Yeah, Graham Lasso was not amazingly impressed.
No.
But other than that, he's kind of made. Yeah, he was a pretty good player.
Yeah. Did he peg it at his head?
I believe he did kick the ball at him. Yeah. Obviously, he couldn't get at his head because he was his rear end. Yeah, that's a chance.
So, anything else to take from the match? I mean, Yunus Kabul. I mean, we have a couple other center backs, and hopefully he'll be sidelined or maybe just play in the Europa League. But he was dreadful. Eric Dyer had another pretty decent match, I think.
He was. I mean, the penalty was unfortunate, but he was good. He does look pretty solid. He kind of just slots in there, and it's totally fine.
Yeah.
Vertonghen, I'm not totally convinced by either. Like, he has moments where he seems very comfortable. He's very comfortable on the ball. He's a bit like David Luiz, like that kind of character of. He's clearly got a lot of like natural skill, but has maybe not got the head for Premier League defending. He seems to kind of do a lot of makes very strange decisions anyway.
Yeah, and he needs like a company or somebody next to him, somebody that is kind of no nonsense and will like a John Terry to David Luiz.
Exactly, someone with their head screwed on, really firmly.
Exactly.
Which I think Kabul very much isn't.
Yeah, I think him and Dyer actually could be a really good pairing. And we just don't have any fullbacks, but yeah, Liverpool looked very good. It was kind of putting us in our place, and after that, I think a fifth or sixth finish is is in the cards. I was a little more optimistic last week, but reality strikes. Any other notes from the football from the weekend? It's
Weekend
break,
football.
so it's
Yeah, there's internationals now. Apart from that, the football was there was Man United failed to win again, which was funny.
Yeah.
So that was great. But it was a terrible game, which I watched. It doesn't deserve any mention really.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're into internationals now. Over here, we've got the European qualifiers. So I can't remember what the one that America plays in. It's that CONCACAF.
CONCACAF. We played the Czech Republic in a friendly yesterday, a couple days ago, 1-1-0. Scotland, Germany coming up.
Yeah, on Sunday we are playing the world champions, Germany. I usually have quite a lot of blind patriotism kind of kicks in for Scotland games. I don't know why, because we very rarely do anything. Or we seem to do quite a lot. The Scotland football team is a very Calvinistic sort of institution. They do seem to really turn it on against excellent opposition, but the people that we lose to are dreadful a lot of the times. So playing Germany, I really don't expect that we're going to win that game. I'll be honest with you, especially away.
Is it in Berlin or is it in where is it?
Where is it? It's not Berlin. It's in Dortmund or one of the sort of regional stadiums. They all hold like 80,000 people anyway. But
right.
Yeah, we'll kind of see. We have like our group. The Scottish group we have the Germans are like the seeded team, the main seeded team. Then we have Poland, Ireland, Georgia, and the minnow is Gibraltar, the British overseas territory at the south of southern Spain. I'd like to say that's a fairly easy group, but teams like Poland and unfortunately Georgia are exactly the kind of teams that we excel at not winning against.
Well, Poland aren't terrible. Poland have a surprising number of like players that you're saying, oh, like they're a decent player in the Premier
absolutely.
League or in the German league. Lewandowski is a great player.
Yeah. And the guy from Dortmund, Blaszczykowski, again, they've got a couple of very good players. They probably should, they're one of those teams that, well, they suffer a bit that two of their great strikers of the last 10 years played for Germany, but that's by the by. But it's the kind of Georgia and those nations. We lost to Georgia in. You mean because you were a year below me at uni, so you would have missed this in Scotland. Obviously, in 2007 qualifiers, we beat the French twice in our. And this was a France team with Zidane and stuff.
Yeah, Thierry Henry in his golden years.
Yeah, and we beat them away, and we needed to beat Georgia to qualify, and just not lose to Ukraine, and we failed on both of those occasions, and we missed qualification by a point or something, and it was incredibly disappointing. So teams like Georgia is a bit of a nightmare, and then Gibraltar, who have just been accepted into FIFA as a country, God knows how, because it really is not. It's a city.
Probably something to do with
Spain.
Probably something to do with off-seas gambling.
I think you can. You may find FIFA has a tax-free office there or something. Yeah. Anyway,
by the way, speaking of FIFA corruption, did you see the report came out today? 350 pages report about the giving the 2018 and 2022 World Cups to Russia and Qatar. This report came out and it's not going public. They're just like keeping it behind closed doors.
Yeah,
which is so fucking typical.
It's pretty bad, yeah. I guess we all know what's happened now, so we're just gonna have to live with it. It'll be sod's law. It'll be Scotland that will qualify for the 2022 one, and I've made a promise that if we ever qualify again in my lifetime, I will go to wherever that is, and it's gonna be there.
It's gonna be Qatar.
I bet you. Yeah. Sod's law.
Not a drop of alcohol in the.
Nah.
Yeah.
50 degrees in the shade or whatever. It's I eagerly await it.
Apparently,
And like £1,000 for plane ticket there and back as well. So
yeah.
fantastic.
But apparently they're trying to air condition the whole country. So there's always that.
Oh, that'll be okay then. Maybe they could get some pretend rain in there as well, make us feel at home. That'd be fantastic.
All right. So that's that for football. The other kind of big news this week was the fappening.
The fappening, yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds like something you'd buy in like Starbucks or something, but I've been informed it's actually some sort of the kind of the iCloud generation. Again, iCloud is something that, despite being only 25, I don't really understand what it is, but it's led to lots of pictures of people being with no clothes on.
I don't think anybody really understands what it is. I think it's, and I think it is like literally it's got the perfect name because I guess we understand that clouds are water vapor, but how they exist, I'm not entirely sure. So
no.
So this is iCloud is just a bunch of files that's put together, but how it exists, I have no idea.
Heaven knows, yeah.
There, it's in a server somewhere. It's up there. God bless. But yeah.
Okay.
But about the pictures, did you see them before they came down?
I haven't seen any of the pictures. As far as I was aware, like what's her name? Jennifer Lawrence is the kind of the poster girl, the unwilling poster girl of this whole incident.
Right.
But there are some pictures with her with no kit on. Is this correct?
Yeah, and Kate Upton as well.
Kate Upton, who I didn't really know who was, but there's a picture of her on the high street just here. She's a model or some sort of actress. Okay, yeah.
She's a model. And has been like a small bit part in the movie. But the funniest thing was is that she dates a baseball player, a professional baseball player.
Right, MLB sort of style.
Right. This guy Verlander, Justin Verlander. And
I've heard of him. Yeah.
He was the best pitcher in the league until he started dating her, and ever since he started dating her, he's been shit. And then these pictures come out where they're like a cute couple. And to be fair, like I feel like every couple has these kind of pictures.
They're kicking about.
Yeah. You know. But just to have them go public is a little embarrassing. Yeah. And it's not their fault by any stretch of the imagination. It's some scumbag hacker, but I mean, it's the modern world we live in. I don't think it's yeah. I think we're just gonna have to accept it.
Yeah, people seem to get quite obsessed with the whole cult of celebrity. But it's the Jennifer Lawrence one that I find the most interesting. That like there was a picture of her with no clothes on at all, and that was. But the thing I wanted to know was why did she have pictures of her with no clothes on?
I think she would have sent them to her boyfriend or something like that.
Okay, it was like a sexual
thing.
Right.
Yeah.
It wasn't just sort of random. It seems a bit strange. Like just, I mean, yeah, fine. If you were sort of taking photos of your sort of family Sundays, that's a bit sort of fucked up. But you've just sort of got lots of pictures of yourself naked, and someone has got hold of those. I'm just trying to say that you'd probably avoid the problem had you not taken the photographs in the first place.
Right, but I think it was something along the lines of the Verlander Upton thing. Is that they were for a boyfriend, they were for somebody. I mean, I saw a couple of them, and that's what they looked like to me. It looked like of course I felt scummy looking at them, but I mean I would imagine
you get over it.
You get over it. Everybody has them, and in our generation. I think you're in the minority if you don't have something like that. So.
Yeah, no, I'm sure there's like skeletons in the closet kicking about somewhere.
But they're not even. That's the thing. I don't think there's skeletons in the. I don't think they should be any. They're anything.
Oh, it's just normal.
It's just yeah.
No, fair enough. Like it's a good way to look at it actually, rather than the kind of sensationalist way that I guess I was putting forward there. I guess I'm just very conservative at heart.
Well, it's the oppressed sexuality of the British nation, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we're terrible at that.
I'm taking a much more European, Greco-Roman approach.
Wonderful. Yeah. Fig leaves and all.
Fig leaves and probably lacking fig leaves.
Oh no, yeah. Don't even need that. See it again. Britain, terrible.
So, yeah, anything else about this? I mean, this was pretty. I don't know. There's not much more you can say about it now.
No. There's, I mean, because it's been like the main thing in the news this week has been that. Obviously, carrying on from last week, they signed a ceasefire in the Ukraine, so people have stopped being interested in that because there's less explosions on the news now.
Sure.
So, and then what's the next thing that people kind of get in towards, get into? It's celebrity culture and Jennifer Lawrence in a lot of films. People know her. People don't know what Ukraine is. Yeah,
she's popular. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, good on her.
She's
more popular now.
She's more popular. More people know her. Gone mainstream. Speaking about the Ukraine thing, switching topics entirely. There is a NATO summit in Wales this yesterday and today.
Okay.
Where all the heads of NATO and their various entourages are meeting, and they just signed a agreement for a quick reaction force.
Okay.
Which is 4,000 troops, and 1,000 of them will be British. I don't know how many of them will be American, yeah. So and they're going to go to the Baltic states. So the Baltic states are like the Ukraine is the kind of first line of new Russia. I think we talked about this last week.
Sure, yeah.
Like the Russia gaining more influence, and it's what they call near abroad. And the Baltics are the other ones, but the Baltics were actually brought into NATO early 2000s, I think.
Right.
So
okay.
yeah, so like that's where if there's actually going to be like a war over anything between the NATO or the U.S. and Russia, it's going to be in the Baltic states. And so that's the test to see how crazy Putin really is. If he starts making moves into the Baltic states, then he's like actually out of his mind.
Okay. Well, cool. I'm working with a Lithuanian chef later, so I'll get his 2 cents on the matter.
Yeah.
And we'll see. Anyway, it's the Baltics where it's going to be at. When people get bored of looking at Jennifer Lawrence with no clothes on, turn your eyes to Tallinn will be where it's going off. Anyway.
Tallinn, yeah. Have you been to Tallinn?
No, I've not been to the Baltic. It's on the to-do list.
I've heard
you can get very cheap flights there from Britain because they're all stag destinations, obviously, because beer is very cheap there.
Yeah, I've heard it's lovely. Well, I
bet it's fantastic.
Yeah. So the other thing I wanted to mention was I published a piece about ISIS on Volterra.
I read it. Yes.
What'd you think of it?
It was excellent. Yeah, it was very good.
Thank you.
As someone who's pretty naive with the news, I thought it was very succinct and really brought up some pretty interesting points.
Oh, thank you. So yeah, basically I just broke it down just for those listeners who haven't read it. I just broke down what happens if everybody's talking a big talk right now about how ISIS is needs to be destroyed, or the Islamic State needs to be destroyed, and we'll chase them to the gates of hell, I think was a line that came out from Vice President Biden, which is all well and good, and I certainly support that kind of maybe not the rhetoric, but certainly the end goal or the goal. But what happens if they don't go away? And basically, I took it down from a global how the U.S. and how international people deal, the whole world deals with it, versus what'll happen in the region and what'll happen locally. And I came to the conclusion that it may just be like any other state that
it could well be. Created.
Yeah.
They may be here to stay.
Yeah. The two greatest institutions, the greatest killing institutions of the past human history have been religion and the state. So when you combine the two, it's never a good thing.
Yeah, you got a real mincing machine there.
You got a real head choppy machine in there.
Oh, yeah, they don't do much mincing, it's true.
Yeah.
It's mainly cut straight.
All right. Anything else we want to talk about?
No, I think that probably sums it up for this week's musings on the world.
All right. Next week, we hope to bring in a fellow by the name of Tom Wilton, who is a filmmaker. I worked with him on my real job a little bit. He has a film coming out later in September called Let It Go, I think, which he'll come in and talk to us about. He'll probably talk to us about filmmaking in general. He's from where you live-ish, so you guys can talk about the streets of London, so to speak.
We can have a go at that.
Yeah.
I will be up in Scotland next week to vote in the referendum, so we can see how that goes as well.
Awesome, and I'm sure he'll have some something to say about that as well. All right, I think that's a wrap. Thanks again, Louis.
It's been a pleasure as always. As I say, tune in next week for filmmaking and possible new country.
Yeah, there you go. All right, talk to you later.
See you soon, Ron. Take care.